Did you already think what you're gonna do next year? The year's coming to an end and we are trying to wrap up the year and get ready for next year and think about what we want to accomplish next year. So do I, in personal life as well as with the YouTube channel, and I'm probably soon gonna bring you an announcement video what I plan for the channel for next year. Hi, I'm Karen from Prepared and Sustainable Living, and today I'm gonna talk with you about skills to learn in 2024. I know that you're going to tell me now that's a wide topic, and there are incredibly many skills you could and should learn in 2024, and that's absolutely right. I'm going to narrow it down to, for one, the niche my channel is in, skills I think with what we are up to right now and what's coming up next year could be useful to have, and skills that I think would be good for me to have as well, so I can learn some of those skills and learn them together with you on the channel, and we can dive into a lot of this and of course a lot of other topic and skills as well next year again. So let's get started together. Skill 1, it's quite obvious, it's going to be first aid. I know that's not going to that doesn't need a lot of explanation, but I'm still going to bring a bit of content to it. A lot of us are living either homesteading life, thriving towards self-sufficiency, or preparing for what's coming next, or like I try to, all of it. And we might not be always able or willing to see a doctor. So being able to treat certain illnesses and accidents ourselves is going to be crucial down the road. And with the way things are looking out there right now, it's time to be ready to at least have a certain basic of knowledge how to treat yourself. 2. Wild edibles and plant identification. Well, that's quite obvious as well. If you're like me and you want to get towards, if you go towards self-sufficiency off-grid, or just not being really relying on the grocery store and the established stores and mechanisms anymore, wild edibles and wild plants, wild remedies are going to be crucial for you. To be able to have wild edibles and find wild edibles and use herbal remedies, you do have to be sure that you know the plants that you are dealing with. So being able to identify the plants, knowing what to look for if you try to identify a new plant you did not see yet, is crucial for that. And that's a skill we're going to dive in next year as well. 3. Composting. Doesn't matter if you're thriving towards zero waste, or if you're thriving to a homestead, or you prepare for what's coming up. A lot of us do already are gonna soon hopefully start gardening. If you garden, you want to have a good plant health, you want to have good soil, a lot of nutrients, so a compost is important. You can either buy them for a lot of money and hope that the supply chain is not crashing on you, or you just can go and make a compost yourself, which is quite easy if you just get it started. I'm composting since a while now, and we are trying to improve that compost next year a lot. So stay tuned for more videos like we did the bone meal, but just with composting and other fertilizer and nutrients for your garden. Basic mending skills. Well, there are different reasons to learn that. For once, buying new clothes every time you have a hole in your clothes might not be an option all the time. You might, if the recession gets worse, not being able to buy new clothes all the time. You might not want to buy new ones. And if you learn the basic sewing and mending skills, you can also go and upcycle clothes, make your own clothes, learn other skills that are related to it. That's an incredibly useful skill for whatever you plan for your future. Some of you sound weird, but map reading is a skill you should learn now. Of course, Google Maps is helpful and it prevents from ever being able to read a paper map. Did you ever grab a topographic paper map and try to find the way yourself? What if you're all of a sudden off the grid? What if you go hiking somewhere where there is no connection, where you are offline? Or what if we really have something happening and we are on our own? Can you read a map? If the answer is no, stay tuned. We learned that this year too. Next one ties into the two skills we had first, into First Aid and Foraging. The foraging of medicinal plants and the gardening of medicinal plants. You might want to consider doing your own home remedies one day. Having the right herbs and plants, knowing them, being able to foraging and gardening them is important. I don't want to increase my home remedies a lot next year, so we can learn some more of those skills together. The next skill might not work for everybody, especially not if you're somewhere living in a more desert or dry area, but rainwater collecting is an important skill to learn too. You might now want to say, well, I just put the bucket out in the yard and when it rains and that's it. But believe me, I figured it's not going to work, but I tried it out because I wanted to make an experiment out of it, and believe me, it's not working. There is not that much water coming in a bucket if it's raining, if it just stays somewhere in the yard. So you might want to make a rainwater catching system. So that might be something useful for the future as well. The next useful skill to learn is woodworking. That's also high on my priority list because if you can make basic wood items and you cannot or want not buy the stuff in the store all the time, you can make yourself a shelf. You can make yourself maybe even a wardrobe or a table or whatever you want to have and want to do. You can do it yourself with either scrap lumber or buy lumber or mill lumber or however you want to do it. The next skill on my list is seed starting. Well, it might be obvious for some of us and for others not, but if you want to be a homesteader or self-sufficient or prepared or come, you want to do gardening. So if you don't want to buy the plants or you can't buy the plants, maybe they have a shortage of plants. Sorry, my dog needs a bit of love. He doesn't feel the greatest today. Then you want to start seeds. And if you can learn to start seeds, plants from seeds, you then can learn later to save seeds or to trade seeds and increase your seeds and your self-sufficiency this way around as well. The next point on my list is maybe more again for the preppers in us, but I think it's crucial for all of us. Basic self-defense. I don't really need to pop out a whole lot of news right here and now to show you that there is plenty of reasons out there to be able to defend yourself. Maybe you say now, well, I have a man and guns. Nice. What if you need to defend yourself if the guns and the men are not home or you're not home and all you have is your hands? It's a skill that's as sad as it is that we need it, always useful to have in today's society. The next skill that is also high on my list, but probably not only on mine, is homebrewing and homemade soda making. Well, homebrewing, I was thinking mainly on non-alcoholic, but not only. You might be able to need some alcohol, not only for drinking, for other things, maybe one day as well. So might be something to learn as well. But let it be some self-sufficiency, or let it be some prepping and you're not able to get no soda anymore. We had, for example, a shortage in carbonized drinks not too long ago. And even if you're in an emergency or in a problem, you might still want to have some comfort food and drinks. And soda is definitely something people enjoy. So if you learn to carbonize your drinks yourself, it's always nice to have. Foraging mushrooms. Well, foraging mushrooms is something Nick and I already do quite a bit, and I really want to increase that as well. Mushrooms are an important part of your food and of your daily life. I bet a lot of you guys do use mushrooms once in a while to eat, or for other things as well, but mainly to eat. And instead of buying them in the store all the time, wouldn't it be nice to have some either canned or dehydrated mushrooms staying on your shelf? You can take whenever you want, knowing where they come from, knowing that it was all what you did. I bet they taste better than the canned ones you buy at the store. Essential wilderness survival skills. Well, that's more a prepping aspect again, but not only. Let's say you go for a hike and you get stuck in the wilderness. You might have to be able to survive for a night or two. You might prep for when something happens, and it does happen, and you need to bug out and survive with what you have. I think that's an important skill to have, because there are so many reasons why you need one day might need it. So it's definitely a skill you want to have available for you. Yogurt and cheese making. Well, you saw me doing a video on cottage cheese before on the channel, and that's basically the only cheese I ever made. Plus, it is a learning curve. It was not the first time I made that before I put it on video. And I screwed it up quite a few times before that. So maybe not only because maybe one day we don't have cheese available, maybe it's just because you want to be self-sufficient and on your own. And cheese is, in my eyes, not that easy to make. So learning the skill is essential to make it step by step. And that's something I definitely want to learn next year. Natural cleaning products. Well, there are many reasons why you should learn those skills. We know not too long ago COVID happened and the shelves were empty for a lot of things, also certain cleaning supplies. You also maybe want to be less reliant on stores and want to do it yourself. You might want to be more self-sufficient, or you want to be prepared for what happens, which we all, of course, the whole preparedness community, of course, hope is never going to happen. Or you just don't want to have put so much chemicals in the nature anymore with using so many chemical cleaning supplies where you half of the ingredients don't even can speak out, even less know what it is. Making your own cleaning supplies to a certain amount at least is always a useful skill to have at hand. Understanding weather patterns. Well, that does not mean you need to be a perfect meteorologist, but being able to know how the weather was in the past, what to expect in the next couple of days, maybe even reading a weather map might be useful to have at hand. One reason might be you want to look outside and know with the signs you have in the sky or in the nature what weather could come up. You might want to be able to have that for gardening, planning your year ahead, knowing how the weather were working the last 100 years and expecting how it could look out next year. You might want to be able for emergency preparedness, being able to see the sky and say, oh, red sky, there's some weather coming. Of course, it's never 100% reliable. Weather is always changing, and just because it looks like it doesn't mean it happens. But let's bring an example. I looked out of the kitchen window this morning and we had a red-orange sky out. And my boyfriend looked at me and said, there's some weather. We're going to get some heavy winds or some rain or something is going to come. And I heard that saying before. We have that in the German language as well, just a little bit different. I think in English you make it with the sailor's warning, and in German we say it's a farmer's warning because there's weather coming in. And I looked on my phone, and for sure we're going to get some rain tonight. So that are useful skills I do want to learn more, and I think for preparedness, for gardening, for self-sufficiency, for homesteaders, it's important to be able to work with the weather, because you cannot change Mother Nature. You have to learn to work with her, not against her. Well, fermentation is a really important preserving skill. Not only making sauerkraut, you can make all kinds of fermentation that are useful not only for food, also for drinks and for a lot of other things. I think being able to ferment stuff is important for every part of the niche I cover, and probably for every single of my audience. It's important for preppers to have something, because fermented food is much easier and longer to hold. It's important for homesteaders that are on gardener that are making their own food and want to have it in the winter and ferment cabbage, for example, and of course other things too. It's important for everybody to have skills like that at hand. You might be able to use it one day. The next is natural fertilizer. I know we already had it about composting, but the natural fertilizer is not completely the same and still goes in the same direction. One of it is like the video I made about bone meal. We might be able to make other fertilizer that's good for our garden too. We know it just last year and this year as well, there was a shortage in fertilizer because there was supply chain issues. You get more harvest and be better prepared for the winter with your garden if you have fertilizer. So how do we make the fertilizer ourselves? There has to be a way to do some of the stuff yourself. People did that before they had a store to buy synthetic fertilizer. So that's a skill I really want to dive into more next. Sorry guys, had to move upstairs so my boyfriend can finish. Get a nap after work. Maintain a little bit of your car. Let's say for example you get stuck on the road. The car doesn't drive anymore, there's nobody close who can help you. You need to be able to figure out yourself what's wrong, and if you can fix it at least enough to go home. Plus, mechanics always want a lot of money to fix your car, so it's much cheaper and much more self-sufficient if you can do that yourself. And that is something I would like to learn next year as well. Understanding the flora and the fauna. Not only to understand where you get your find the plants you want to have, in which area you find them, or in which habitat you find them. It's also important for the animals. It's also important for the animals because you might want to be able to track and hunt animals, or trap animals, or just observe animals. And it's important to know how they behave and how they in different times of the year, and where to find them to be able to use it to your benefit. Tying in the topic, being able to read some weather is also measuring your own weather. Well, you can see how much your area probably got, but you might be a little bit a microclimate. There might not be a station close to you, or you're just a little bit different because you're in a suburb, or you're so far out that nobody knows or has a weather station out there because it's not necessary. Maybe you have 40 acres and there are different weather. It can happen and you have different weather on different parts of your properties. So especially for the garden, I think it's really important to be able to measure your own weather. And you can do a lot of those things DIY. Not all of them. I can make a thermometer myself, for example, but I'll try to make some really cheap options where you can measure your weather in front of your house yourself. Knitting, crochet, or natural dye. Well, it's mostly a self-sufficient thing. that you're able to do your own clothes, make your own hats. Natural dye is something really nice to be able to do, but it might also only be preparedness. You might have to rely on your own skills because you can't buy no hat, and then you need to be able to do that yourself. So that's definitely something that's always useful to have. So except of having 20, we did now a couple extra for the people who would like to watch my videos to the end. And if you watched it to the end, please consider subscribing and the notification bell. And to confuse everybody who did not watch the video to the end, tell me what you think about the understanding the flora and the fauna without saying skill. You like it, you don't like it, you have plans on doing it. Let me know what you think about it and that you watched it without saying understanding flora and fauna. Let's confuse everybody who did not watch it to the end. So that's all for today. I will bring up an announcement video soon as I'm 100% sure how my channel will look next year. Until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Merry Christmas. If I don't see you till then, I should do have another video up before that, so I hope I can wish you another time Merry Christmas. And till the next time, stay prepared and sustainable.